Hey, and see.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
I'm just so glad that school starts again Monday.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is January 21st, and we're hoping for maybe a solid week of school this upcoming week.
Praise the
No
Lord.
interruptions.
Praise the Lord.
No.
Preach it. Preach it.
Amen. No holidays. No
Snow
snow
days.
days. No ice days.
Although I will have to say, for my money, that was pretty good snow.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's just, 3 days
I enjoyed it.
with the children. I love the children dearly, but as one of my friend's sons to me, I just need my space.
Yep. We got a little space
We did.
Saturday.
We did.
It was lovely. The weather was gorgeous.
We went to the restaurant that I don't own.
Right. That is your last name.
Yeah, Venable at Carmel.
And walked around Carborough a little bit. Went to Weaver Street.
We were good. We had salads. Yay!
Yeah, they were good.
Went to Weaver Street. What else? Went inside Carmel. Went to look at the clothes.
Yeah. Some really expensive shoes that we
Man.
didn't buy.
Yeah, that's some shoes, man. Well, like you said, though, maybe if you never buy another pair of shoes again, but you buy those, that's it, right?
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
what would be the point, right?
Yeah. That's a lot of damn money for a pair of shoes.
That's a damn money. That's
And I
right.
guess we're talking about the $200 range.
Yes.
Not used to spending that much money on shoes
Oh yeah. Not this day and age.
or anything for
Yeah.
that matter.
No. So
Yeah.
today was a year from when you marched in D.C., right?
Yeah.
So what'd you do?
Oh. Nice setup there, Phil.
Thank you.
So me and the ladies that I went to DC with last year, we met for lunch today. For various reasons, we were not able to march
Right.
Saturday. But that being said, we got together. I got us all little gifts, nasty woman, little ornaments for trees and an empowered charms. And I'm still intending to, which I just got today, the frames that I ordered. I've been meaning to frame. We got newspapers from that day last year. I was going to frame those. But anyways, we had lunch and we talked about, and I love it, one of my fellow marchers, women who shows up, she asked us to go around the table and ask, and tell each other what's one thing that we're proud that we did this year. As a result, kind of as a result from being at the march last year. Being at the march it's indescribable, the feeling. Just the amount of people, the energy, the love, the representation. And I don't know, I've seen articles out where it's just, it's all white women. I didn't see all white women. I saw a lot of different people there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just women. It was men. It was children. It was teenagers. It was all different races, all different, different gender classification. I mean, there were just all kinds of people represented. I'm kind of sad at some of those articles that are coming out, and some of the articles, they are written by white women. So just, anyways, that's another soapbox. But the whole point is it was more than a moment. It was a movement. And there was a lot in this past year, that happens in your life. We moved. We had a lot of stuff going on. But, one thing that I'm super proud of at work, I started with another colleague, a women's resource group, to help empower each other and support each other through activities and development. And one thing we had was a empowerment like symposium where we had a couple of speakers. One was Senator Valerie Foushee, and the other was this top scientist, Lenita Dorflinger, that is she's very high up in the field of contraceptive technology innovation, and to have a woman just in science, she has broken barriers in her own right, and a lot of women just really got a lot out of that. We also had a volunteer fair where different organizations, women's shelters, Habitat for Humanity, Planned Parenthood, Durham Foster Care, all these other organizations came, and people actually signed up to volunteer, but also learn about resources in their community that could help them. And we also had a development class where we had 3 bossy bees come in, who's my friend Kim, come in and kind of facilitate a conversation about how, women are just more inclined to say you're sorry, and sorry for things that you're really not sorry for. It's just kind of like how we've always kind of communicated with people, especially in we don't claim that power. We apologize for it.
Right.
So it was just, it was really great. It was a communicate with confidence kind of class, and anyway, so I felt really good about my year and stepping up, and I've been volunteering more for Democrats. So
cool.
Man, that was a little long-winded.
That was good. No, that
Sorry.
was good. No, that's great. I feel inadequate now.
Well, for one, you're not. For one, you have been my supporter to allow me to do that.
Yeah.
Because somebody's got to stay and watch the kids.
True.
And my folks, they help, but,
No, it's interesting you mentioned this because our guest, here's another great segue. Boom. Al Riggs and I were having this discussion about privilege. And I don't know. I hate that word. I mean, I totally understand the concept. I completely understand that concept. I just hate the word, and I hate the I guess it's like a cliche, like it's up there with woke. Check your privilege and all that kind of stuff.
It's the word of the year, that woke and
so we were discussing it, and he was like, I think I got it really easy. And you'll hear more about it in the conversation. Just like, you help if you have talents to bring people that are maybe less represented, or marginalized, and you can bring them to the fore. That's great. You step back and you let them speak and do their thing. You don't try to, you like people. You can't hear it. Well, maybe
Phil likes to snap his hands.
It's the sound. It literally is the sound of one hand clapping.
Yes.
People always say, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?"
I'm sorry.
People, that is the sound of one hand clapping.
I totally just got you off on a tangent there. I'm sorry. Anyways,
okay.
Al Briggs.
But Al Riggs was saying it. So.
Al Riggs. Sorry.
Yeah. So we were just discussing sort of the whole intersectionality and things, and kind of what you're saying with the Women's March. How there were people saying, well, it was women, but there should have been more. Non-binary folk there, or
I don't know. The people who I heard spoke, it was Angela Davis. It was, and I can't name who all spoke, but the people who I heard speak, they were Latina, they were African American, they were not, I guess,
non-binary.
I'm not sure. They weren't traditionally, straight or whatever. I mean, then you had Madonna up there, which she's in her own ball of wax there. But
this is just a separate category.
I just think it's just so easy for people to say, and I am a white woman, but it's just so easy to throw it all away. Like they're throwing away the pink pussy hats. I mean, give me a fucking break. It's a hat, for one. Number two, stay focused.
Right.
I just feel like people are trying to change the conversation and just tarnish the people that are standing up and the people that have allowed things to bring them together. How many women sat there and hand crocheted those hats? Step the fuck back.
Yep.
That's what I want to say. Do not throw that symbol away. It means something to somebody. Don't tarnish it.
Right.
That's not fair.
Right.
Let them have it. You may not like it, but let them have it. It is no harm. It is meant and good. And a lot of women did this out of their own hearts. Old women, African American women, young women. I mean, let it be. Let people rise up. Yeah, stay focused on the issues. Don't let this distract you. You know? I mean, I just feel like people are fighting over bullshit. You stay focused on the fire and why, what really matters, why you need to rise up. Don't let a hat change that focus. You know?
No, I agree. I mean, I've seen a lot of. I mean, we've seen a lot of it. You know, on Antifa and stuff like that, where you know how radical can you be when it strikes me that there's just a lot more. There are a lot of people that are trying to advance society. You know, they're trying to make it more equal. They're trying to make it more economically fair. You know, lots of things, and all those people have a lot more in common than they do that divides them. Yet it seems we spend a lot of time talking about what divides us.
And honestly, a lot of these articles that I've seen, they're just so easily passed around in this day and age with media. You know, copy, paste, send, forward, blah, blah, blah.
Post.
But, I mean, think about it, people. These are opinion pieces. You do not have to agree with it. These aren't scientists.
Right.
These people are not doing research. They are using their opinion to sway you and get your attention and focus somewhere else. Keep focused on issues, on what matters, on what's important, on what you should stand for, what you should fight for. Anyway, yeah.
Stay focused.
Well, yeah.
That's like 2018. That's your 2018. Stay focused.
Stay focused, people. And I'm sorry I wasn't here for Al's conversation.
It was good.
I know. I missed it.
It was good, boy.
I have to miss a couple because my schedule isn't as flexible as Phil's, unfortunately.
But this the thing that for me, every year, you know. So people tomorrow, yours truly is getting on up there. It's another trip around the sun, the 22nd of January. However, the 22nd of January is also important because it's the anniversary of Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
So every year, especially while I lived in D.C., if I didn't take the day off, I would get on the train to get up to the federal government. And I'd see the two sets of marchers every year. And that to me is staying focused. You know, I think that was 1973. I'm older than the Roe v. Wade decision. I'm old. But that was 45 years ago. And it's still this court decision, this health decision, this civil right, I would say, the right to control your body, that is always being undermined or challenged or vilified. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I guess I would just say that vigilance, persistence, focus, all that stuff, and finding people that you can work with, just because you don't always agree on everything. If you believe that everybody should have equality, that's a really great place to start, to work together and not hopefully get distracted by other issues, or who's more radical than the other. That seems to be a lot of it now.
Hey, it's good to be challenged.
It is.
It's good to be challenged.
Oh, it is, totally.
And to question yourself, to question others, to help define or refine your opinion on and stance on things. But yeah, I really think people need to consider the article they're reading, the conversation. Is this an issue that is affecting people? Is it something that can affect them in a positive way, in a negative way? I mean, is this going to lift people up?
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah, and that was a conversation that I think that needs to be being had all the time. Is everybody. I didn't think Al said this. Everybody has the right to an opinion. Everybody has a right to have a voice in the conversation.
And you know what? That's what makes America so fucking beautiful, is that we live in a nation that allows that.
And more, and one thing he said specific was that you have the right to have a voice and you have the right to an opinion. You don't have the right to speak for someone else. And I think that's the real battleground now is, who speaks for you? Who makes decisions for you? And, in this day and age, I mean, I can say right now, Roe v. Wade was a great thing. It's a great thing for the country. It's a great thing for everybody, for reproductive health. It's a great thing. Everybody, I think, should, think about how having that kind of reproductive health and choice has made their lives better. It has, whether or not you're aware of it. Even if you're a man, it has, and people should not speak on behalf, make decisions for women and women's bodies. People should not make decisions for LGBTQ folks that do not, are not. They should not limit their rights. They should not limit adoption. They should not, the HB2 thing should not limit where they can use the restroom. And we should all try to focus on that more than, well, you shouldn't have said this because you're coming from this place or not. I mean, it's a tension that we're all having to adjust to. But I think on the anniversary of Roe v. Wade today, when folks that are hearing this and hearing me and Al talk about, privilege and conversations, in addition to biscuits, there's a lot of biscuit talk.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed
so
that.
There's a lot of biscuit talk. But no, I was going to say is that Monday, January 22nd. You don't have any notifications. My birthday, but also Roe v. Wade. Think about how you speak and how you can help people speak for themselves and advance their lives in a better way and in the era that we live in. And enjoy the interview.
Shouldn't you be back in your hometown? Pirate mascots and smokestacks instead of right behind my back. You come around seasonally like allergies. Say you privately remember, like the moments when I slipped off the car and you were singing Last December. Take your coat and throw it in the fire. Might as well make something warm, 'cause your visitations are the norm. No, I didn't say any of those things. Was half me mistaken for that bum. Put a name on the corner of the album. You must have me confused. Neither of us are good with faces or names. You can't prove who was used. She needed to be certain, so she was certain. Do not print my name. Say privately remember. Do not print my name. Do not print my name. Do not print my name. Do not print my name.
All right, everybody, we're here with the infamous. Can I say the infamous?
You could say infamous.
Infamous Al Riggs.
I won't hold you against
Facebook. Facebook infamous. You're like, is Facebook famous? And there's Facebook infamous. Right? How's it going?
There's Facebook. Please be quiet. Please be quiet.
I have to say this. It's just funny knowing you more from the Facebook statusi. Your music is so different. It's not nearly as snarky. I think that's really interesting.
Well, that's because you're not paying attention.
Right. Okay, so I did. I listened to Hell House, and although I was reading some, I guess, who was that? Noah Hollings? Is that who
Noah
wrote
Rawlings?
Rawlings,
Yeah.
Thank you. Wrote the review, the initial review, and the indie for Hell House, and the whole Nick Drake thing. And I could actually see you writing a status say it's not Nick Drake I'm influenced, it's Drake.
I'm okay. So I'm just gonna right off the bat. When I read the Nick Drake thing, Noah's a great writer. I read the indie all the time.
Right. Who doesn't?
He's a really good writer. He's a really good reviewer.
Uh-huh.
He has a lot of great insight. I have gotten the Nick Drake comparison a handful of times, and it bugs the hell out of me every single time. It's the obsession with, oh, this guy has a guitar and he's really good at finger picking. Who do I know that does that? And
Boiler.
Yeah. And I've told like my boyfriend about this, and we've like discussed it and everything. And I didn't set out to make a really butch record, as Hell House kind of kind of sounds like.
You think it's Butch?
I think it's butcher than a lot of my other material.
How does that translate into instrumentation and lyrics?
I mean,
is it a thematic butchness?
Yeah, so I wrote a lot of the songs on acoustic guitar,
right?
Which I usually play either electric or nylon string, but acoustic immediately gets people in that mindset of serious singer-songwriter.
Right. Oh, this guy is meaning something.
Yeah, this guy. Oh, wow, we got to pay attention to this person.
Right.
And I think that, and this happens all the time, when you hear the acoustic guitar, you immediately get like this image of either like this hunched over guy looking very serious or man in the woods wearing flannel chopping some wood.
Yeah, this dude won't be making any fart jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
This is big statement stuff.
Exactly. I don't think there were fart jokes on Hell House, but there's a lot of dick jokes on Hell House.
Well, there you go. There you go. And if you can't joke about a dick, really, I mean, they're pretty funny.
They're
hysterical.
They're nightmarish,
clownish.
they're
like the clown from Poltergeist.
Like, oh no!
I just like to give all the listeners out there the mental images that we're all currently struggling with now. So so Butch would be serious in this, opposed to snarky, bitchy, whatever.
I've definitely made some snarky and bitchy records. The one I'm making right now is definitely leaning more towards that.
Okay.
But if I have one, I'm the most proud of Hell House.
Okay.
I love that record. I put a year and a half into that record, which is longer than I can say for a lot of my other music. And it's the one that I'm proud finally is on like a label. It's on the Bull City Records Presents label, and it's a tape. It's a physical album now.
You can hold it in your hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like a CDR that I made really quick before the gig.
Right.
It's like a thing now, and more than any of my other records, it feels like to me it deserves to be a thing.
Right.
But my only regret with it is that it's very, very, with the exception of maybe one song on there, The Wire Filters, is very butch and very, a little too masculine.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
That's just me. I don't know if anyone else gets that.
No. I mean, it's always interesting because, like, I would say as artists, I mean, I've made records and stuff too, is like, I personally feel like creating... I'm not sure. It's really weird to genderize some of that stuff, But like creating, I guess you could sort of say, being sensitive enough to be expressive and articulous. Yes.
Articulous.
Yes, I am not very I'm very articulous because I cannot say it.
I'm articulous.
All right, so patent pending, property of Phil Venable, all rights reserved. If you use that, but now I was going to say, I mean, that's supposedly a feminine trait. I typically aligned with that.
Yeah.
So, I always feel like, writing and making music is maybe not the most, I don't know, I guess masculine we're supposed to be chopping wood.
Yeah.
I
mean, and
fixing a car.
And again,
this is a song about fixing a car.
Yeah. Again, this is all in my head.
No, I'm just thinking the same thing myself now,
Yeah.
Like what, yeah.
Yeah, it's
swaggering beat.
Yeah,
you need a swaggering beat with robust chest hair, extra chest hair. Is there like now there should be a boutique pedal that's just
extra chest hair,
and
you just can't, and it's just you just can't hear anything.
Okay, so not to undermine the seriousness of your achievement. So 2017. You got like the top 20 local release, one of the top 20 local releases?
Yeah,
that must have been awesome, right?
That was weird. I honestly, I'm really trying not to sound like fake Modestin or anything. I wasn't expecting it.
Right.
There's a lot of fucking great music that came out this year. Like, that new Naked Naps record is great. Sylvan Esso. I was on the list with Sylvan Esso.
I know. That's cool, man.
Iron and Wine and Reese McHenry, who's on my record.
Reese is awesome.
I love Reese.
Yeah.
She is my favorite singer.
She's great.
Yeah, I love Reese. But it's so weird considering that that I had to like scramble to like get anyone to listen to my stuff, and I'm still in that position. I mean,
You're not getting calls from, big agents to
right,
go
right,
on
exactly.
tour.
I mean, it's weird. I've become friends with like well-known people,
Uh-huh.
but it's still a struggle,
Right.
and it's still hard sometimes to get shows. It's gotten easier,
Right.
but just the one issue I've always had is promotion. I can't do it. I'm
It's a pain in
terrible
the
at
ass.
because I'm doing all of my own promotion.
Right.
I'm sending the record to websites,
Uh-huh.
and I don't even know if they're even getting read.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know if anyone's listening to it. It is
Oh,
just a blind fart in
Yeah.
the wind.
You're like, see, Godspeed, little record.
Like I tie a tape to a brick and start hucking it off the roof, hoping that it hits something.
Go with God. Just
So it's weird. Everything's changing. Everything's getting a little easier, but that one part of it has always been elusive and frustrating.
Well, I'm
for
sure
me.
you've been able to put the down payment on the SS Al, right?
I mean, it's
get
just an old storage crate.
Right, that swinging houseboat.
Somehow it can float.
So the Hell House. Okay, I was reading about it. You said it was like a old like a punk squat, basically.
Yeah. So it's called Hell House. I got the title when I was my old job at a record store, which shall remain nameless because I've talked about working there a lot and
Skip it.
very disparaging stuff. But I was bored one night because it was a record store in Durham in Brightleaf Square, and nobody comes over there. I was just looking through like documentaries and weird stuff online.
Right.
And there was a documentary about, I think it was called Hell House.
Okay.
Hell House LLC or just Hell House or something.
Uh-huh.
And it was a documentary about very extreme evangelical Christians. Every Halloween, they put on these big hell houses that they would use to frighten and indoctrinate young folks.
Uh-huh.
So it would be these weird scenes of, if you smoke weed, then this will happen to you.
Okay.
If this is what an abortion really looks like. And really terrifying, horrible, horrible, horrible things. But the idea of the title just sort of like stuck in my head, like Hell House. That's like, because I'm an alliteration nerd, I'm an English major, so it's like,
hey, me too.
That's a good title for something.
Right.
And so I wrote the song, I think, that night, and I wanted to write sort of a love song about two queer folks who say they're going to the Hell House to like appease their parents, and then they end up running away together. And I wanted to write just like this really sweet song that sounded like Halloween.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's almost like an autumnal vibe.
Yeah,
I was thinking, you
yeah.
know what I mean? You get the smell of burning leaves off
little
some of that
bit, yeah.
stuff. You know what I mean? I guess that's how I'd put it. Well, so I was saying the Hell House would be the parents' house in that regard, like going back home is the Hell House.
I mean, the Hell House would be the Hell House that they put on.
Right.
The whole production. And
Okay, the
everything.
whole thing. Okay.
The house that I've referred to in interviews
Right.
and like talking about making the record
Yeah.
was a house at Chapel Hill that I was
Right.
living in, where I wrote all these songs, and it was a good place to live.
Right.
Punk house.
Right.
Everyone was either a musician. One guy was a teacher. One guy was a construction worker.
Cool.
And people were just in and out all the
Right.
time. There's a line in, I think, Burning Next Door, which talks about being choked awake by fog machine fog, and that happened at a Halloween party we had there because
okay.
I'm a fun individual.
Right.
I was the first one to go to bed.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm done. I'm really tired. Goodbye, everyone. Party's still going on downstairs. I take a melatonin. I try to go to sleep. There, all of a sudden, fog starts coming in underneath the door, and I wake up and my entire little room is just this cube of fog. So I'm like scrambling to like unhinge all the windows and everything.
I remember I lived in the Pink Flag house for a while in Durham, and and I had just moved back to North Carolina from DC, and just looking for a quiet place to lay my head. I don't know why I let them convince me to do this.
It's near all the shops.
It
It's
is.
near
It is.
all the food.
I was able to go to Nana's, and then Nana's Tacos, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So what? I know you mentioned your 2017 is over. It's done with, man. It's in the rearview mirror. 2018 is this wide open vista. You put your hand over your brow, right? Yeah.
Life spreads out in front of me like an eternity.
What's the? No, I was gonna go with what is it? The Odyssey, the rosy fingers of dawn, or whatever.
Man, that's good.
Yeah. There you go. So patent pending. No. So what you gonna do in 2018 instead of resting on your laurels?
I've got a handful of ideas. I'm making. I've got 3 records already written.
Right. Well, that keeps you off the streets.
Yeah. Crime's going down.
Right. The owl effect is gone.
Test scores are going up.
It's like El Nino.
So I've got 3 records already written. One is in the process of being recorded. The other one I'm going to wait until I'm in a studio somewhere else to record. And the third one I'm going to record live with my current live band.
Okay.
So I've got ideas for all 3 of them.
Oh, okay. So let me ask you then, because I was going to say, it sounds like, we were talking about this earlier, the Stephen King effect of I guess sort of you're very prolific. Right? And a lot of the stuff you do.
That's a 10-pound word for saying bored.
You don't know what to do with your time. You need a hobby. Go swimming, something. But no. So, and you do a lot of this on your own, right? You're just sort of
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Or do you use like a laptop or something like that?
So I've been using GarageBand since day one.
Oh, okay.
I've been using my phone, the Voice Memo app. I'm currently in the process of wanting to get like an Android or just a better phone. I will say this about the iPhone. This is not a paid advertisement. I will say this. The microphone for the iPhone for recording voice memos is perfect.
Okay.
It captures a room pretty amazing.
Okay.
Pretty amazingly. And I've been using the Voice Memo app to record vocals and acoustic guitars on records for the past maybe 3 or 4 years.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
It just captures everything just perfectly, and with like no. I can't really describe it. I mean, I will go back and like edit it and make it sound like better or something. But it's when it comes to just getting the idea down and getting the bass track down, it's perfect for me. I think with this year I'm going to try and move away from that. Last night I was at the Cave, part of the Mike Wallace residency. Mike messaged me, hey, do you want to play some synth on this thing? And this weird sort of improv jam thing. And I said, sure. It was a lot of fun. There were 6 other people on stage.
Okay.
And this is the Cave, so there is no stage.
Right.
It was fun being part of a band where it wasn't like the focal point or I wasn't like the lead person. I think in this year I want to do more of that. Of just like sort of like
the sideman kind of thing.
Be in someone's band.
Right.
So yeah, this year continuing with how I recorded a lot of the guest tracks for Hell House. This year is going to be more about collaboration than before.
Right. And so the question I was wondering, the reason I was asking about the home recording, are you, when you say you have a set of songs that sounds like that you're not going to touch
until
you
go to an actual by God studio.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I think every album that someone makes should be different.
Right.
Everything should be recorded differently. You should try something new with everything. Otherwise, even if it's just like you're gonna record your voice differently on this, you're gonna record the guitar differently. The drums will be loops instead of real, and you should try something different with everything you put out. And at this point, I've kind of exhausted my library of sounds that I've picked and choose from.
All right.
And I want to just try doing something else. The album I'm recording right now with Brad Cook, I'm like, well, why don't we just, I texted him the other day, like, why don't we just have the album be what we're doing in the shed, which is this really rough, really spooky sounding music. I've already released a song from it called Privately Remembered.
Okay.
And we recorded that in a day. And this one's gonna have a lot more, like on the song, a lot more electric piano and like very, very much in a shed sounding.
Okay.
I don't know. It's
You know it when you hear it. Kind of thing, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to just make the same record over and over.
Right. So when you were writing, how does that process work for you? You have like, well, I've got 10 songs. I'm going to put this in this pile. I'm going to put this in that pile. And put this in this pile. Or do you like, I'm doing one thing at a time. I'm focusing in on these.
So it usually starts with the latter and turns into the former.
Okay.
Some songs would fit the mood for this album
Right.
more so with that one.
Right.
It's really more of writing a bunch and figuring out where they're gonna go
Okay.
later on, and then forcing them into a narrative
All right.
as you record them.
So you're like looking for, do you like look for like, I know sometimes I've written them like, oh, that song's kind of picks up on this theme from that song. I'm going to keep those two together. This song has nothing to do with that, so that goes in this separate. I'm putting this to the side.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of themes you got? Where's your head at, man?
My head at with a lot of people's heads in the past year is Horrible Men.
Horrible Men. Okay.
Horrible Men. My head is in the mindset of horrible, creepy, gross men.
Okay.
The album that will be next, like, it's weird. This has happened the past few records where I've got the names of the songs. I've got the track listing.
Right.
I've got all of them written. I've got the art ready.
Wow.
None of it's recorded.
Oh, okay.
The art for Hell House was done by a great artist, Zach Rose, who was like the first person to like actually follow my shit.
Okay.
Really great. Painted it. Sent me the painting. I have it like up on the wall. It's amazing.
Nice.
Um,
I guess, you know, when I see it, it's, you know, it's about what, like maybe half an inch by
Yeah.
half an inch. So it must be nice to see it in like, you know.
it's good to actually have the big physical painting.
Right.
The art for this one is done by I'm gonna butcher his last name.
Okay.
Dylan Blaylet.
Sure.
Dylan
I don't
B.
know,
I'm
afraid
sorry.
I don't know Dylan, so I can't correct you.
I'm sorry, Dylan. I ruined your name.
He did that on his own.
Yeah. The art was done by him, and I have this idea of there it is. I looked it up on my phone. Dylan Balliet.
Okay.
Balliet.
There you go.
I apologize, Dylan. It was gonna kill me if I didn't look.
I understand, man.
I had the idea of just. I was thinking about what it would be, and
Right.
then I just started drawing ideas. Like, I want it to be a bunch of obvious rock band Econoline vans that have all found their way plunged into this huge lake.
Okay.
So that's where my head is.
All right.
now.
So, yeah.
And the name of the album is called We're Safe, But For How Long?
Oh, interesting.
Which is from a Kids in the Hall sketch where
Which one is that?
it's
Yeah.
the one where they're being chased by zombies, but it's really rote and really just like
They're phoning it in, huh?
it's really just more of a deconstruction of we're tired. This whole thing is tired.
Okay.
At the very end, Mark McKinney is hugging Dave Foley and is staring into the camera and just very flatly says, "We're safe, but for how long?"
Oh God! So I'm just gonna say the Econo line, the rock and roll Econo lines, are the gross old men. I'm gonna go with that.
And not even just the gross old men. I wrote privately remembered from the perspective of a specifically Ethan Cath,
Right.
from Crystal Castles.
Right.
Horrible man. I think he was under investigation recently
For something else, right?
for
Didn't
the
he say something
FBI.
else? Yeah.
So I think he's pretty much done. But I wrote that song just thinking of the very technical language that people use to excuse themselves, to excuse your behavior,
Yeah.
and the technical ways that they can appear human. The just like really like just legal jargon and everything.
Uh-huh.
It's mind-boggling to me that, and all of this flows into politics as well, just if you know how to read good,
Right.
and you know the language to get around outright saying the horrible things you're doing,
Yeah.
if you know how to do that, you can pretty much get away with murder.
Right.
And you can get away with destroying lives. And I don't know. I'm mainly just
Well, I was gonna say just based
it's
off of that.
fucking insane.
Right.
to me.
It seems like a lot of the times, like with these, I guess Weinstein and in this example.
Franco now.
Right. I saw that.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of the times, they were, able to do it because they could, and there was no recourse really until I guess we reached some kind of critical mass, with I guess the Weinstein kind of thing.
To think that it took this long to reach a critical mass is also really frightening.
Yeah. How do you feel about the whole Kevin Spacey thing? Is that like particularly offensive when he sort of came out with the whole like I'm gay? Oh, and by the way, because it seemed like he was trying to like, hey everybody.
Well, unfortunately, the history of being a gay male involves this weird extra layer of promiscuity, this weird extra layer of quote deviancy unquote.
Right.
That's why people are kind of more okay with, from what I've seen, and I may be wrong.
Right.
People are more okay with the idea of lesbians than gay men because of it's all having to do with femininity and masculinity or something.
Okay.
For a man to act less masculine is more of a sin than a woman acting slightly less feminine. I don't know. I'm getting into weird territory that probably should not be getting into by even me. We talked about the Jamie Stewart thing.
Right.
Him using the word dyke when
Yeah.
he probably shouldn't. So I'm going to stay away from that before I dig myself into a deep.
Well, no, I was just I
deeper
agree.
hole.
I agreed. I mean, it does strike me that there is some sort of strange. I mean, and this is from a very outside perspective, which
Right.
maybe sometimes you need. I don't know, or not. I don't know, or who cares about the outside perspective? But the as assumption is that gay or straight or bi, men are men and they're dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
They're dogs.
Yeah, and are you familiar with your kids in the other room?
Right.
Are you familiar with the dating app Grindr?
Yes.
Okay, so I've been on it.
I would also like to point out we're listening to One Direction in the background.
This is all just
Multiple layers of
there's
thanks.
Christmas lights and everything around here. This is a fun place to be, mentally, emotionally.
Right, exactly.
It's just bonkers to me because the app does reinforce a lot of negative stereotypes, not just about gay men, but men.
Right.
It's very anti-women.
Right.
It's very anti-feminine. It's very white.
Yeah.
It's very racist.
Wow.
It's incredibly, like, apart from the usual no fats, no femmes. There's the usual nonsense of no blacks or
Wow.
and usually immediately followed up with I'm not racist,
But-
I'm just not into that.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
Right. No, I mean, no. Friends of mine that are my age, I guess, are always it's the bear thing. They
Yeah.
want the bear, or
Yeah.
or there's a lot of body shaming on there. It sounds like, from what I've been
exactly.
told.
But
Yeah.
the fact that also feeds in the Kevin Spacey thing, where I think he felt that by coming out at the same time as him revealing that yes, this did happen. He was sort of maybe in the back of his head, he was trying to excuse it. He
Yeah.
was trying to put some sort of reasoning behind this is just what we do, which is horrible and false.
Right.
And no, dude, you're just a fucking creep.
Yeah. I mean, you should have I feel
Because you then go ahead and lump in
Right.
an entire group of people with your horrible act.
right, because like if you look at the Weinstein situation, all right, the dude's hetero. What does that have to really do? He abused power
Right.
and sexually exploited
Yeah.
people. You know,
Yes.
regardless of orientation, it's an abuse. It's not an orientation. It's
Most
an abuse.
most people wouldn't be like, well, that's just because he's a
right.
man.
Right.
He's a straight man. I mean, I would. But
Thanks.
no offense.
Right. None taken. None taken.
But as soon as Kevin Spacey does it, it's like, oh, well, that's just because.
Yeah.
There are some people who honestly who believe that it's like, oh, that's because he's gay and gay men are deviants and blah, 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 blah.
I was wondering if it was also like he was trying to rally a community that he had kept at arm's length.
It's Spacey's folly.
Right. I mean, it's like, now that I need you guys, all that stuff you heard about me.
Anyone want to help me?
Right.
No.
I could just see,
Absolutely not.
most at that point, most gay men, you're on your own, pal.
Yeah.
You didn't want to be part of it before,
I-
dude. Yeah.
An entire generation, an entire group of doubting Thomases, like, I do not know this man.
Right. I mean, the discussions about his, orientation, like a lot of celebrities,
Yeah.
who I don't know. I mean, maybe some people that we've heard of, like Travolta, or Tom Cruise. I don't know exactly who they're trying to fool. Or,
I mean, when it comes to stuff like that, it's I fall into a few different camps where A, I don't care.
Right.
B, no one else really cares.
Yeah.
So you don't really need to fool or anything.
Right.
And C, any attempt to fool or it just makes you look worse.
Right.
And D, they're both also just like creepy.
Well, right,
gross folks.
but so it's kind of like, dude, we kind of knew that you weren't comfortable being public or whatever with this.
exactly.
Don't try and
Don't try and turn this into a movement.
Right, yeah, and you kind of wonder like if other actors,
Yeah.
if they were pushed too far
Yeah.
or beyond into some controversial spot, and suddenly the pride flag goes up.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
like come to me, my people, and yeah, and it's an interesting moment because I see, having. We've seen this recently in the area where, the discussion of privilege, I guess, and allies and intersectionality, I guess, in the sense of like, as you were saying, who gets to talk about this versus who needs to, shut the hell up and try and listen before maybe responding.
Yeah,
and it's a really tricky thing because I'm on the farthest ring basically. Right. I'm way out there.
I'm going to posit to you that it shouldn't be and isn't a tricky thing. Because I do realize because there is a way to do this. If you are in, I'm going to lay it out simple for you and for a lot of other listeners who, not saying that you do, but some people might struggle with the idea of, well, people call me privileged and I'm upset by this. And blah, blah, blah.
I just hate the term. I hate the phrase "check your privilege." I think that's like, whatever.
Well, it's important.
Right? No, I just don't like the term.
So here's the thing: if you come from a privileged background, or if you are let's just say you are a known member of the community. Right. You're a popular writer. You're a popular musician. Political person.
I wonder what that's like.
I wonder about that myself every day. If you're in that position, you should understand that there are people trying to get to that position who, through no fault of their own, are in different minorities. Right. That fortune doesn't favor them. Right. And it's harder for them. I feel like your job should then be to hold them up. Right. Your job should be to lift them up and show them to people and show that, hey, here's someone that you should be paying attention to. And you shouldn't be doing this for anyone but them. Right. You should not be doing this to make yourself feel better. You should be doing this to help people who need it. Right. And then you back away. You use your privilege as a means to help people who don't have it, and then you shut the fuck up and you back away. It's because I cannot tell you, and I won't tell you because this is a public forum. Right. I cannot tell you the amount of people in this area who have put on benefit concerts, who have done...
I've actually been one of those people.
who have done so many good things, and they are good things. Right. Raising money, highlighting causes and everything. Right. And they just do not understand that their job is done. Your job with this is done. You have highlighted an issue. You have raised money. Do not make this about yourself. Right. Let the people you have found and the people you have brought together speak for it themselves. Right. This shouldn't be difficult. It is difficult for a lot of people. Yeah. Unfortunately.
No, I think sometimes it is difficult. I mean, I think it's difficult for me sometimes because you want to feel like you can have an opinion and talk about it. Yeah. And you don't want to get shut. I don't think anybody wants to get shut down.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And you can definitely have an opinion. You could definitely talk about it. But I say this to people sometimes: just read the room. Yeah. Just understand that because you are from a different walk of life than this other person, that it's not that your opinion doesn't matter. Right. No one is saying that. Yeah. It's that it's just different.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
It's just you need to be. It's just people need to be more aware of who they are and where they're from.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think this is. This is a pretty human moment for that because it's not like you
We're
haven't
both-
had that.
We're both just looking at that cat.
I know. Like, what's the cat doing? So the lamp. So listeners, the cat is on the turntable. Get off the turntable. But there's a lamp that's rubbing its butt, and it's freaking its nerves out. That's Cheetah Chrome.
I saw like the weird little.
Yeah. It's like the nervous system getting stimulated. But now I was going to say, I think it's a fairly human thing to not be in the center of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are conversations that you obviously you're closer to the center.
Yeah.
Based on experience or orientation or something. But then there are conversations that, you're back here with me maybe or something like that. And there are some conversations you can't, I guess, be the primary voice,
Exactly.
I mean, one thing I've noticed with these conversations, with I guess the whole idea of allies and things, and again, I think sometimes this comes down to the semantics. For me, that what I would consider privilege is the absence of societal assumption.
Societal baggage.
Yeah, it's a baggage. It's a I walk down the street. I was like, if
You walk down the street with no fear.
Right? No one cares. Right?
That's what you hit the nail on the head.
That's a privilege. I mean, that's what people call privilege. I just don't like the word. You know what I mean? It's like a semantic thing.
Yeah, but you don't like the word, but unfortunately, that's what it is.
Yeah. No, I get it. I just hate the term. I don't like the check. I just don't like the semantical.
There is.
It's been there all my life, and I've known that.
Yes.
There
are people, and they actually are in short supply, that are very annoying when it comes to stuff like that. When it comes to like dropping into a post online and just like shoehorning themselves into. Well, you need to check your privilege, but
I hate
they are actually, despite what every like sitcom these days
has
done, those people are actually very few and far between.
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, as my therapist says, Facebook is terrible.
It is.
I mean, it is the worst place to have a conversation. Like, hey, let's have a really sensitive conversation in public.
I'm dealing with that right now about biscuits. People are getting
was it the Biscuitville?
Biscuits.
Was it the Biscuitville?
I said Bojangles. Someone else says, well, Bojangles sucks. I'm like, come on.
Oh, man, it's just biscuits.
And I said, well, what about Rise? And then someone bit my head off on that.
Well, yeah, because you're in. I mean, people probably are going to be like, what, Sunrise?
Yeah.
All hail Sunrise.
I'm just going to say this so that I can say it and move on. When it comes to biscuits
and privilege,
and
the privilege of
biscuits. When it comes to local biscuitries, my favorite biscuits
let's get it over with.
Sunrise.
Okay.
I really love their biscuits. When it comes to a biscuit sandwich, my favorite biscuit sandwich is the fried chicken at Rise.
Okay.
Bojangles makes.
I like some Bojangles.
I like Bojangles. Their biscuits aren't good.
I will go for the seasoning simply.
Yeah. When I want chicken, I will go to Bojangles and get chicken and fries and a biscuit. Breakfast biscuits.
Man, you've got this worked out, man.
I have to, man. I really have to.
Are you like a biscuit dude? Like,
I'm a food guy. Yeah. I like food. I like good food. I like finding good food. And breakfast sandwiches, breakfast biscuits is Biscuitville.
All right, so then you can advise me. All right, so breakfast pastry. So I'm gonna go. I haven't tried it yet, but I keep thinking about the creme brulee. Was it the donut or pastry at Rise? Is it creme brulee?
It's fine.
Is it?
It's fine. Yeah. Rise is kind of back and forth with me on their donuts. I really like their old fashioned.
Okay.
I like their chocolate. Best donuts in the Triangle. I am going to say Mo Nuts.
Okay.
It's probably my favorite place to go for breakfast is Mo Nuts.
But then you got to drive. Well, I got to drive anyway.
You got to drive. I'm like 5 minutes away.
You live in Durham?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I live in Durham.
All right.
Lived there since October.
Oh, okay, that's why.
Yeah.
Why did you move, Al? I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that.
No, it's fine. A few reasons.
The look on your face.
I've got a handful of reasons. One, because my roommates sprung. We're all moving out by this time, so you better find a place to live.
You best get
To moving. Two, I was already staying a lot of time over with my boyfriend
okay.
at his place in Durham, so it made sense
All
to
right.
just move in. And three, this is gonna piss a lot of people off.
Uh-oh.
I like Durham better.
What is... No, I get it. I lived in Durham. I like Durham fine. Now, see, and I will say this. People, it's a long-term bias.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be Durham was like, and people would say this when I moved to the Triangle in 96 or 7. You don't want to live in Durham because of the crime. Translation, the black people. Mm-hmm. You know.
Do you realize that still they say that?
No.
When I was living in Raleigh,
Uh-huh.
I lived in the past year and a half, 2 years. I lived in Raleigh, Chapel Hill, and Durham.
Uh-huh.
I've been everywhere. I lived in Raleigh. Was working at a coffee place,
Right.
the famous one.
Okay.
The
infamous.
the infamous coffee place.
Right.
I was working in a Starbucks. I was working at Starbucks. If it doesn't matter.
All right.
I was
because you're listening to it right now.
I was working at Starbucks the year I was in hopscotch, which was baffling.
Man, you're bad. You're evil. Pure evil.
I worked there, and it was in Cary.
It's even worse than
Yes,
Raleigh, man.
yes.
What is wrong with you, man?
And I used to live in Cary when I was younger.
Oh,
I grew
my
up in
God.
Cary. Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked at a Starbucks and a Harris Teeter shopping center across the street from a church. So I got
It's like the trifecta.
I got the best customers.
Oh, man.
But a coworker of mine, I had mentioned I was thinking about moving to Durham.
Uh-huh.
A coworker of mine, she got very like, why would you want to move to Durham? Like, it's so crime ridden and everything. It's like, wow, this doesn't really go away, does it? This
Yeah.
horrible racist thinking. And
Yeah.
I have found in living in all these places that Durham has just as much crime problems as every other place.
Right.
It just gets, unfortunately, reported on more.
Yeah.
Because everyone in the back of their mind who doesn't live in Durham and who's never been to Durham has this idea of Durham as just this hole of crime. Where
Right.
crime goes to become more crime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there wasn't much when I lived in Durham in the 90s. There wasn't much going on.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, it was nice.
Yeah.
You know.
Durham's happening.
Yeah.
And
when I moved back, it was like, there are all these clubs here and all this stuff. I
Yeah.
didn't have to leave Durham to go somewhere
and of
for
course,
the nightlife. you
and
know.
of course, living in Durham now is the constant inward battle of. There's so much fucking gentrification.
Yeah.
There's so much just like. Just comical, bad ideas happening in Durham. That I'm about to put a business on blast.
Uh-oh.
This is that it's a Southern thing.
Oh, I've not even heard of
restaurant.
them.
Oh my god, I haven't been.
Okay.
Allison Hussey went,
All
I
right.
believe. She could probably tell you more about it than me.
Uh-huh.
But their Instagram presence is bewildering to
This
me.
is why I'm glad I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay off of it.
It's fine. It's a nice way to just sort of like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's a great way to just find some.
I stopped at
art.
Twitter. I stopped at Twitter, and I was like,
Twitter's
I'm stopping.
also bad. All of it's bad. All of it is
Right.
horrible.
So
and bad
I'm not gonna
and-
add. I'm not
and
gonna add another bad
necessary.
one. Bad and necessary.
Bad and necessary. It is unfortunately a necessary evil.
Well, yes.
For
You got to keep your presence up,
gotta
man.
keep my presence. Gotta let people know that I'm a thing. that
What was
exists.
the okay? It's the
So it's a Southern thing.
Right, okay,
It
right.
is I think please, someone out there correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to mess this up. They're just not from North Carolina. They are more northern than anything else. Someone from up north got a wild hair up his ass and decided to, hey, I'm going to open a Southern, with a capital S, restaurant in the South. This will go great. Didn't go great. People were like, this is like TGI Fridays. This is like a themey restaurant. And they also have like drink specials. I think one of them.
Have our $10 mint julep.
But one of them was called White Girl Wasted, and it was just,
Well, you know, there is a certain inherent comedic value to that. My apologies to white girls.
No,
but, you know,
there is an inherent funniness to that, but the fact that it's just
a Southern thing.
Oh, you'd actually call a drink that, huh? That's actually really horrible and tacky. And I took weird, horrible pleasure in finding out that their fancy, like, $1,000 smoking grill got stolen the other day.
Oh, right. Okay,
That's
I think
the
I've
one.
seen some of this on
And
there.
it's like, I feel bad for y'all, but at the same time, it's just
I'm
kind
kind
of
of chuckling a little.
It's kind of like I don't do Schadenfreude anymore.
Yeah. I do all the time.
But
It's like my hobby.
it's I don't want to be mean and I don't want to be cruel, but it's just so weird to have more to talk about of this restaurant I'll never go to.
Yeah,
But-
you know, there's got to be a way to. What was it? No, have you ever been to Nashville and down on? Okay, so down on what's it? Lower Broadway, I guess.
Yeah.
I went there once. I went to the Country Music Hall of Fame, and so there was for a while there was the George Jones Museum. It was a pay museum. It had, I can't remember, 4 bars. Like a moonshine tasting station and like a restaurant with a bar and then another bar and then a bar on top of the bar. I mean, it was great. It was fun because it had
And a
like-
museum.
Right, it had the museum. It had it did have the lawnmower that he tried to drive to the liquor store after they took his keys away.
Still one of my favorite
Right. So the
things I think of sometimes that pop into my head. Do you remember when George
Right, exactly.
And I just laugh and get weird looks in public.
So we're down there though, and it was like a beautiful day, and it was maybe it was March or April. I don't know. I can't remember. It was wedding season, basically, you know. So there are all these women down there, like bridal, like I guess it's like a bachelorette party, wearing like Daisy Dukes, tank tops or some variation thereof, you know, cheesy cowboy hats and cheesy boots. They're all pretty much drunk off their ass, and this is
Sloshed.
like noon, and then it's like, yeah, okay, there is a there needs to be a drink for something like that because and for me, having to watch it was just like, oh, this is not good. You know, this is not good. You know,
This is really not good. A small wind could.
it
blow
was
all of them over.
it was something. So maybe that's what the Southern thing is thinking of. I don't know,
It's this cartoony,
but yes,
easy to sell version of the South, where the South is much more complicated than that. Especially North Carolina is a very complicated, weird,
purple
odd,
state.
wonderful state.
well, I came originally from Virginia, which is another complicated state. You know, like Michael VM and I had this discussion yesterday about, you know, the weirdness of the South, of like, you know, you can be essentially talking to someone and wondering if they were in the KKK, you know, like in the 50s. Like you could talk to a sweet old man or whatever and be like, and then
drop
wonder
something.
And you look at them and based on their age, you wonder, what were you doing during the civil rights era?
I worked at a record store in Raleigh for a year. I dealt with so many people. The guy from I've spoken publicly about this, and I've told people this story a bunch of times. I'm just going to shorten it. Guy from Erectus Monotone called me a faggot at the store.
Whoa!
And he was already in there causing a big ruckus, and we told him to get out, and he started apologizing and then twisted it around to an apology. And then he called me a faggot, and then he left, and then he stood outside of the door flipping off the store for a straight minute.
That's old school slur too.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember getting called that.
Oh, really? For you, it's old school.
Man,
That
in the
is-
70s, I almost thought it was my middle name. 70s and early 80s, it was. I mean, well, we were talking about this earlier. Like, you didn't have to have any interest in
Yeah.
being. I mean, I was like 9.
Yeah. There's something. I'm sorry. There's something. There's something incredibly funny to me about an older person calling a 9-year-old because it's so cruel and so over the top.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Maybe
like
that's just because I'm a sick individual.
probably there's that, but well, you know what I think actually, and is it's just a way of, especially in the South and in the 70s. I mean, I don't know if it was more masculine or now we're in a hyper masculinity or whatever, but there's that line in, what was it, Heathers, where Christian Slater says something to Winona Ryder about, hey, this is Ohio, if you're not holding a beer, you're wearing a dress or something like that.
Right.
It was that kind of deal. Like, I liked books, I liked music. I was not very good at kickball.
Right.
I'm going on the record, people.
Well, no one's good at
Right,
kickball.
except getting hit in the head by the
Exactly.
ball,
Exactly.
But yeah, there were the I guess what would be the alpha, the future fraternity presidents
Yeah.
and of the world or whatever. And yeah, if you were not of them, you were in this cast-off group, and at least at that point, I think that's
They pulled you off stage with a hook. and
right,
decided
exactly. You go over
there.
there with everybody else. So I don't know how much of it is like, if it's just simple denigration or if it's they're actually identifying what they want to denigrate you for. It's an interesting concept, I think, in
At
some
that
ways.
point, when you decide to call a complete stranger that,
Yeah.
I really do not believe it matters.
And I remember, I had this every month or a week, I can't remember, but you had somebody in the class got recognized for being them,
Yeah.
And one guy, this guy's name was Todd or something, and I wrote, and I was 9 or 10. Todd is cool. I like to play with him. Well, some people took offense to that, and I still don't understand that. But yeah, I mean, I think that goes back. And then there were all these weird justifications. That's what the British call cigarettes. Like what?
Then why?
Or that's when you tie a bundle of sticks together. Did you ever hear that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why did you call me?
Yeah,
that?
British. Yeah.
As
Or a
some-
bundle of sticks.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who's been yelled that from a moving car,
Yeah. When I had long hair, I got it. I walked
Yeah.
down the street, and I was like, I don't know what exactly they were afraid of. Like if I wasn't walking down the street, like shoulder pressing as I'm walking down the street.
Well, it's fear of their own personal masculinity. I mean, this is 101 stuff.
Oh, is it?
It's
Okay.
It's fear of their own personal masculinity being threatened. Yeah. And if you're afraid of that being threatened, then, and you're not secure in it, then something's up with you personally.
Got some latent stuff going on, maybe.
You probably need a therapist
Right.
of some sort.
Huh? Yeah. But yeah, no, that it's an old word.
Yeah.
You see, I got 20 years on you, but yeah, no, it was strange. It was a weird thing. I mean, obviously, you've seen probably much more weirdness in that relation than I have. But, I mean, me and a couple musicians, I think, or creative types early on, people that were, not,
Yeah. I mean,
going to be, the quarterback.
I'll be honest with you. I took music class with some of these dudes. I took guitar class with some of these dudes. You don't have to be. You don't have to even hit any of the prerequisites. They're just. Growing up for me was just a nightmare because it was just constantly from kids.
Oh yeah.
It was just.
Now, was this because you knew that?
No, it was
okay.
just kids are awful.
They are.
Kids
They're terrible.
are
I have 2 of
awful.
them. No, they're great.
Any difference, anything.
Yeah.
And it could just be shit that you had zero control over.
Right.
The fact that you're slightly taller, slightly shorter, it is just. John Mulaney has that bit about 13-year-olds being the worst people on earth. And
Yeah, I can see that.
They'll mock you in an accurate way.
Yeah, there's a cruelty. There's no conscience behind that because they're still kind of
Oh
learning.
my God!
what-
I went to Catholic school.
Oh, you're-
for most, so.
You must be horribly conflicted now.
Oh well, not anymore.
Got that out of my system.
I went to Catholic school for about like 8 or 9 years, which is a good way of saying.
So I'm saying I'm just going to guess that you don't go to Catholic church anymore.
It's a nice way of saying I don't really practice it.
Right? Yeah. No.
They kind of beat it out of me.
Literally.
No, well, the kids did
Ah, okay.
sometimes.
Now my dad went back in the day where they would use the ruler.
My parents too. My mom too.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Well,
This is fun podcasting.
yeah, is it?
Yeah.
All right. So what are you gonna do? You're making 3. What? Oh, tell me real quick before we leave. The Vaxxers. What is that? Because I saw you start going nuts about it on Facebook, and then like I have to ask. Vaxxers.
Vaxxers was a means to make music that wasn't what I usually do. So anything electronic, anything droney, anything just weird that isn't very obviously singer-songwritery stuff.
Non-owl.
Non-owl rigs goes into Vaxxers, and it's freeing. It's very freeing because it has allowed me to make music that I wouldn't normally. It's allowed me to experiment more. I put out a Vaxxers album last week it was an hour-long track, and I was on hold with Blue Cross Blue Shield. And the hold music was like really pretty piano and guitar or whatever it was, instrumental that just kept looping over and over again. And through the phone speaker, it of course comes out sounding very distorted, but also very pretty. And I decided, what if I just loop that for an hour? And then put like some reverb and mix with the EQ. a bit.
Oh, interesting.
And it's like,
Why not? Yeah.
Why not?
Okay.
I've decided this year I'm gonna put out a Vaxxers album every month.
Now is that you mentioned already 3 projects? Is that one of those projects? Like
No,
the
this
Vaxxers is part of it, or
No, it's
This is
separate.
separate.
This is separate, and they're each gonna be a track long. They're each gonna be long. They'll be, of course, not all noise tracks. They might be a bunch of little songs put together. They might be loops that I create. There might be found sound. It's just a means for me to get ideas out that I wouldn't be able to do in the usual singer-songwriter thing.
All right. Well, anything you want folks to know before we head on down the road?
When is this going up?
Maybe 2 weeks.
Okay, so I'm going to be doing a residency at the Cave.
Okay.
For February.
All right.
Got a few people lined up for that. 4 completely different sets. Guitar, piano, a Vaxxers set, and a full band set.
Awesome.
Going to be attempting to play the new record from front to back on one
nice.
of them. So
Okay. Cool.
should be fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'll start. It's going to be every Wednesday in February.
Awesome.
So that should be a lot of fun.
All right. So everybody, you heard it. Go to the Cave, February, Wednesdays. Well, not. You want to go to the Cave on Wednesdays in February.
Right. But you should just go to the Cave.
Every Wednesday.
Regardless.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's true. All right, then. Well, thanks a lot, Al. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. No falling asleep now. Plan ahead too much. Let's have a room full of friends with us in it. No giving excuses here. You're the only one here that I needed to be here. So
let's not waste it. And if you need to lay it down, you can. And if you need a bed, you take it. And if you need some air, go get it. And if you need some quiet, it's yours. With your parents, let's have a room full of children, but you never felt right. You never got over it, but you don't need to get over it. Squeeze my hand when you're ready to call it a night. And if you need to lay down, you can. And if you need a bed, take it. And if you need some air, go get it. And if you need some quiet, it's yours. And if you need to lay it down, you can. If you need a bed, you take it. And if you need some air, go get it. And if you need some quiet, it's yours. Let's have a room. 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 This year, she says, I'm not gonna have a party, just some friends and some coffee, and you're welcome to come. I know you don't like the Christmas parade, but it'd mean a lot to me if you came. Last year I was busy with a slow day at work, crying kids and a jerk, complaining about the tea. Well, you know I don't like Christmas parade, but it would have meant a lot for me to come. This year I'll be there, armchair